Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Colette from Witch Ways, and today I want to share with you a deep dive into my favorite and most effective witchcraft practice, which is a triple clearing. I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to share the whys, the hows, and when to do it, and some ways that you might shift it for yourself. I hope you enjoy. Originally, I shared this here on YouTube in a video about moving into a new home, and I reference it really frequently. The essence of it is very simple, but I wanted to share some ideas about intentions to hold, the underlying mechanics of it, cautions, safeguards, so that you can shift it to something that works for you in whatever situation. Basically, a triple clearing is just burning herbs, using an herbal steam, and making some loud banging sounds. But the way you carry it out can matter, and I vary it depending on what's happening, the situation, and how serious it is. And this isn't something you have to do all the time. You might do it seasonally or at certain times of year when the veil is thin, or after you've gone through a major life change, transition, or emotional upheaval, or when you move. You can also use this if something like an ill-wishing, a curse, or a non-helpful spirit actually makes it past your protections into your home or onto you. Basic clearing in the shower and a simple clearing of your house usually works just fine. But if it's persistent, it's really putting down roots and doesn't respond to a simple clearing or a shower, a triple clearing is definitely the way to go. Before I start a triple clearing, I sometimes create a small intention or phrase that I can say throughout the process. Maybe I say it right at the beginning and repeat as I'm doing the clearing, especially if it's a spirit that has intruded or some very strong energy. It can be something along the lines of, I clear and banish any magic that is harmful or dangerous or is ill-intentioned towards me and mine, any spirits or beings who are not my allies and don't have my best interests at heart, go away. Sometimes I don't say anything, especially if it's just seasonal and preventative, like at Beltane or summer solstice or at Samhain. I like to start with burning herbs because fire shifts and changes everything it touches. I like to let my herbs flame a bit, and that's why I like using sprigs instead of powdered herbs on charcoal or instead of bundles, because those tend to smoke more. For thousands of years, humans have relied on fire as protection from predators and the unknown spirits of the night. We have a long generational relationship with fire as protection. Smoke, though, is also important. In European and Nordic traditions, the smoke was seen as just as important, maybe more important, than what was actually being burned. It was known to clear vermin, whether they were spiritual, physical, or magical. There are a ton of clearing herbs out there, so I suggest that you do a little research, use ones that are already familiar to you, that you have a relationship or a resonance with, or ones that you can easily get so that you can develop that relationship. If you're growing them or a neighbor is growing them and is amenable to you harvesting them, so much the better. For me personally, rosemary is almost always in the mix. Sometimes I use it solo. It's super good for clearing anything away except the most powerful, persistent energy. And it also adds a layer of protection, which is also good. And my experience is also that adding herbs like mint and hyssop work to really clear out sort of that stagnant energy that tends to build up in homes or when you're doing a lot of magic, and that can really attract problems. And to be clear, that's just my experience, my own personal UPG. It's not something I've read elsewhere. If it's something big and really problematic, a lot of the really strong banishing herbs that you might use in charm bags or spells are too toxic to really burn. But I find that blue vervain is a really, really good one. It is a strong banishing herb, and I use it a lot in the blend when I'm burning, trying to get rid of something that's a little persistent. These herbs and all the other ones that you might use for clearing often have a lot of other properties besides just the ability to clear out negative energy. So what I do when I'm working with them is to let them know in a respectful way what properties I would like them to work with me. And it doesn't have to be formal and big. It can be as simple as holding them in your hands and talking to them, but do whatever feels appreciative and authentic to you. It's your practice, and over time, if you keep trying, you will develop the way that is right for you. Smoke in large amounts can also be really toxic to animals, and so it's important to check online and see if any of the herbs that you're planning on burning are poisonous or toxic to your animal friends. I started working with herbal steams to clear my sinuses and my lungs years ago, and gradually over time I started finding out that they were also clearing the energy in my house and off of me. So steams work by infusing the air with the power of the herbs, their essential oils, and their other magical properties, and it also calls on the spirits of water to help clean, clear, and dissolve and move things out. It also coats the walls, the ceilings, the floors, the windows with a layer of semi-permanent moving things out, protection, repelling energy that I feel is a little longer lasting than burning herbs. And I also feel that it clears things off that have latched on to my intuitive systems and my nervous systems, which are ruled by water. So I feel like it really complements that burning the herbs, and it leaves the yucky energies nowhere to hide. These days I use rosemary by itself because I know my cat does okay with it, but my favorite used to be pine needles that I gathered on my daily walks around town, just finding them on the ground, washing them and drying them. And they're good for health, especially psychic and mental health, and protection. Rosemary, of course, is good for protection and clearing. And I also used to put lavender in there, which is the one that's really kind of problematic for animals, and it provides mild protection and general cleaning and clearing energy. I did want to mention a couple other herbs that you might want to use that are pretty commonly available. Mint for stagnation and blocks, as I mentioned, and also for general refreshing of energy. Chamomile is mildly protective in my view. Some people see it as stronger. Its calming energy can really help if the energy that's building up feels frenetic, or it's making you feel kind of uptight or anxious in some way, or fearful. It also calls on the power of the sun, which is a good energy to have on your side as you're clearing things out. Again, fire energy. Agrimony, if you feel like the energy might be coming from another human. Basil for really strong protection and bringing in some just kind of expansive, abundant energy, and it can really enhance your own magic as well. And there are so many others. A lot of people use any of the mint family members like garden sage, thyme, all of those that are related to mint. I actually was never taught that garden sage was clearing and protective. I was taught it was more about wisdom and mental process, but a lot of people do use it that way. So you know how some people bang on pots at New Year's? So that's an old European folklore tradition that I believe has been used in other parts of the world to chase out malicious spirits and bad luck. And it was done at times that were liminal, like Samhain, and other times like that. And then later it became associated with New Year's. And this is a really important part of the triple clearing or banishing if there are spirits that you feel might be hanging around instead of just yucky buildup or a curse. And I think one of the most important important pieces of this triple clearing is to have some pre-made herb bundles or herb charm bags ready to go to put up as new protection. And for summer, you could have, for example, rosemary, cinnamon sticks, oak leaves, maybe some St. John's wort if you can get it. And then for winter, I really like also cinnamon and rosemary, but I'm likely to add pine needles or mistletoe. After I've done that, and after you've done any other kind of refreshal of protections you've put up, like maybe you have wards or sigils or a magical filter around your home, redo those and strengthen them. And so what I do then is I like to burn a little incense just to reconsecrate, soothe the spirits who are my allies, and bring things back to a normal balance. Sometimes I also like to burn a candle to reconsecrate my space. If you feel like you have serious negative stuck energy going on or a persistent spirit, you might need to ask for help. And these don't need to be witches or people who are super advanced. They can be beginners if they have the ability to put up a strong psychic boundary around themselves. They know how to shield themselves, and they are not intuitive sponges. Being an intuitive sponge has some great uses, but not in this particular case. They also can wear charmed jewelry to protect them if they want. So start by opening the doors and windows and have one person tend the steam pot. Have others carry the burning herbs throughout the house, making sure that no sparks fly and that your fire's safe. It's not a bad idea to have a pitcher of water around just in case something happens, especially since you're dealing with some kind of perhaps chaotic or weird energy. And then have other people start from the center of the house, moving outwards in a spiral or whatever way makes sense given your floor plan, banging pots or ringing large bells to make noise and clear spirits out. And through this whole thing, whether you are working solo or whether you're working with others, remember that intention you thought about and repeat it. So this whole process relies heavily on the number 3. And I chose the number 3 because, first of all, it's an odd number, and I like to use odd numbers of objects or actions or things when I'm wanting energy to shift or change in some way. Also, the number 3 has a long history in folk magic, mythology, and witchcraft as a powerful number. You can also do this 3 times, the whole thing, so you have 3 times 3, which I think that phrase originated with Wicca maybe, but 9 is also a very powerful number in a lot of European folklore. Let me know in the comments if you found me going into depth with this practice and sharing the mechanics and the why of it helpful to you. And please share your own practices so we can all learn from each other. If you want to sign up for my witchcraft newsletter, which contains seasonal magic and tips for witchcraft, the link will be in the description. And if you can, I'd really appreciate it if you would support me on Patreon. You receive a lot of magical benefits, monthly workshops, and weekly articles. So until next time, stay safe and be well.